Hello and welcome to another episode of the LBV podcast. This is the first one I've done in a few months, so good to get back and doing it. Today, my guest on the podcast is none other than Stephen Husband. How you doing, mate?
Good, mate. Yourself?
I'm all right, doing good. If you don't know Stephen, he was a professional footballer who played for clubs such as Dunfermline, Blackpool, Celtic Hearts, Forfar and Stockport. First of all, Stephen, obviously the recent situation with lockdown and COVID, how have you dealt with it, really?
It's been tough. Everything sort of changes, but likewise for everybody. Obviously, work stops, football stops, so everything that people was used to in life, all their normal routines are sort of knocked off. And I've also got two young kids, so they've been affected by it as well. So yeah, we're all turned upside down for almost a year now.
Obviously, you made a big decision in lockdown, which we'll get to later. We'll start with your footballing career. How did you first get into playing football as a young kid?
Just on the streets, kicking a ball about in the backyard, going to school. Had a ball at my feet just constantly, all the time. Just like most of the guys my age did. And then ended up just going for trials somewhere. Ended up at a Celtic team with all my mates, and yeah, it sort of kicked off for
there. You then joined Cowdenbeath, which was as a youngster. How did the move to Cowdenbeath come about?
Well, I just left Dunfermline when I was a young boy, and I was going to go back to my Celtic team. And then the Celtic team got offered trials, the full team, to go to Cowdenbeath. So I ended up just going to there anyway, and then we just done a big selection with a mixed group of guys, and ended up into the under 14s or 15s, I think it was, by that age.
You made your first team debut at just 16 under manager Brian Welsh. How special a moment was that for you?
Oh, it was mad. I was on a bit of a journey by that time as well. I moved up a couple of age groups. Had a really bad knee injury. I was told I wouldn't be able to play football again at any decent level. So it was sort of determination to come back for that. And then obviously Brian was the head of youth at the time, so I obviously saw how hard I'd worked, and I managed to get my debut. So it was really good.
You were then scouted by Heart of Midlothian, the Premiership side. You went to the academy there. What type of players were coming through at that age, and like who was in your age group for at Hearts?
Well, I was there. Guys like Johnny Brown, Johnny Stewart, played with Bonnyrigg. Obviously, Hearts were renowned for having foreign players at that time as well, so it was a real mixed group of nationalities as well. Then obviously moving on to sort of reserve team games, guys like David Templeton, stuff like that, Ryan McGowan, the older age groups. So had some talent in the squad at our age, yeah.
Was there any coaches at Hearts that influenced you to push on in your career?
Well, Darren Murray, well known. He was great for our age group through at Hearts. Just drove the boys on. He was a Hearts fan himself, so every day in training it was demanding. It was a real eye opener going for doing your Cowdenbeath stuff to full time at Hearts. It was a real changeover, and he just drove us every day, made us work hard, and so he was a real catalyst behind that.
When you're still a youngster, you didn't make it into the first team in Hearts, but you led to your move at Blackpool. How did your move south of the border come about to Blackpool?
I was doing quite well at Hearts at the time. We went on a pre-season tour to Austria, and I was one of the lucky younger boys that got to go. Me and Ryan McGowan. So I think we just arrived there, and they'd asked us to sign a new deal, a new 3-year deal. So everything was looking up, everything was going well. So when we got back, I signed a new deal, and then it was Chavo Laszlo that was the manager at the time. He had asked us to come in for a chat, me and Jason Thompson, plays with Arbroath.
Yeah.
He asked us to come in for a chat, so he took us both in at the same time. We had no idea what it was about, and he says, Blackpool want to take you on loan. So it's a bit of a strange one. He asked us both in at the same time to ask us, but yeah, we just says, well, look, obviously it'd be good for us, so yeah, we'll go. And then nothing really came out for a good couple of months. It was sort of approaching Christmas, and then I heard the deal was sort of still on, but they wanted to make it permanent rather than loan. So I decided to go to Livingston on loan just for to get some game time and hopefully keep the move alive and then get away down there.
There was also obviously some great players at Livingston at that time, like I seen earlier, like Andy Halliday coming through, Mark McNulty, who's at Dundee United now. Obviously, the move to Blackpool after that, there was a really strong squad there as well. You've talked about in the past about the influence of like Barry Ferguson and Charlie Adam. How influential were they in your move to Blackpool, at your time at Blackpool, obviously then being Scottish as well?
Well, obviously it was a big decision when you're 19 to leave home and go down, sort of on your own, if you like. So I was staying in like the Hilton in Blackpool for almost 3 weeks, and I remember Charlie came over and says, "Are you still in the hotel?" And I says, "Yeah." He says, "Right, I'll sort that out for you." So I think a day later, I had my guy take me around to flats and stuff like that. So it was good. He sort of looked after us a bit, but it wasn't just Charlie. There was guys like Stephen Craney there as well, Scottish guys, and it didn't really matter about the nationality. Everyone sort of looked after you. That was the spirit we had, and it's probably the reason for Blackpool's success with that group. It was just because everyone did look after each other.
The manager at the time, Ian Holloway, how influential was he in your development as a footballer?
Yeah, well, it was sort of a difficult one. Obviously, I went down. We expected to just be in the Championship, and I'll get promoted. When I spoke to him about my move down there, it was just a case of settling in and enjoying the rest of the year, and then sort of building it for next year. All that sort of got blown out the window, but didn't really think about it like that at the time. You just obviously saw, Championship, Premiership. You just sort of go with it. But looking back, it was the worst thing that could have happened from a personal point of view. But yeah, it was good. He was the same with everyone. It was almost a mate as much as a manager. He just looked after everybody and had a good banter about him and kept everybody alive, and it was funny.
Do you think if Blackpool stayed in the Championship, you were able to get more game time for Blackpool in the Championship?
I definitely think I had a better chance than moving to the Premiership. Obviously, with making that jump to the Premiership, they're forced to sign better players and obviously can attract better players. So it's definitely going to harm you as a young boy. I'd played reserve football, as you say. I hadn't really played first team football with Hearts, so I had a big learning curve to go, and the platform was sort of taken away from me. I wasn't able to have that platform to go and compete with the experience I had. So I definitely think it would have benefited me staying in the Championship.
So then you went out for a hunt for first team football when I loaned to Stockport. How was that loan move for you, and did you think you were able to push back in the Blackpool side after that loan spell?
Yeah, obviously I went to Stockport. It was a great club. We actually stayed on the training ground. Me and one of the other guys went for Blackpool, so we fitted in fairly well. The lads were good. So yeah, it was pretty good. The only thing was we're down the wrong end of the table. I think the first game we got beat 5-0. The second game we drew 3-3 against top of the league, and then the next game against middle of the league we got beat 4-1. So it was a real mixture. There was no consistency in the team or anything like that. So I was only there a month, and it started to turn a bit in the wrong direction with the changing room. The guys obviously put pressure on each other and that, don't want to get to go down or anything. So I decided to go back to Blackpool. It was purely because I didn't think it was the right environment for the football for myself. So I decided to return to Blackpool. But I didn't think I was going to walk right back into a Blackpool team or get a chance. Or it was only a month loan. But I thought if I went back to Blackpool, I'd done pretty well when I was there. I thought I'd maybe get another loan move elsewhere.
So then you left Blackpool in the summer of 2012, which led to you moving back to Scotland. Was it always the plan after leaving Blackpool, do you think, to come back to Scotland?
No, but what happened was I'd been away for that long. I hadn't played much first team football, so it felt like I sort of wasted being away. So I came back home and I had a couple of offers to stay down with Knox County and Tranmere. And I said, look, I'll come down for pre-season, but I'm going to go home, obviously, just now. So I come home, and then I ended up just sort of settling. I was sort of found myself being a bit happier at home. And then I ended up getting a call for Dunfermline. So I went in there. and I was just happy being home, and I was enjoying Dunfermline, and my plan was to train with Dunfermline and then still go down for a bit of pre-season with either one of the teams, but it didn't turn out that way, and I was sort of more happy being at Dunfermline, so I sort of stuck it out and managed to sign a contract with Dunfermline, which turned out to be a good decision.
As you said, you signed with Dunfermline. Manager Jim Jeffries was there at the time. Obviously, the team just got relegated from the Premiership. Going into that season, they were one of the favourites to win that league. After a strong start to the season, did you and the boys think you could go on and win it?
Yeah, but what a team we had. It was a pleasure to play with some of the players. Great team spirit. It was going really well. I don't think we're far off it. I think we're maybe just behind Partick. With a great chance of going on to win it. Obviously, it was only halfway through the season, but yeah, it's just sort of stripped under your feet. Left you with absolutely no chance whatsoever other than try to stay up in the league.
A highlight from that period was the 2 goals for yourself away at Raith Rovers and a 3-1 win.
Yeah.
How good a day was that for you? Really, it was your first proper go at a season, really, and at a club. So, how amazing was that for you that day?
Oh, it was brilliant. I remember them both clearly like they were yesterday, and just to round it off, a tap in front of the Wraith end as well. So I certainly felt a few pelters that day after scoring them.
So, at the middle of that season, there were signs that something wasn't right around the club. When did the players start to realise that there was issues at the club?
We heard little whispers, but I mean, you sometimes always do hear things at clubs. Never really affected us to start with, and then I think you start to see more and more people get concerned, people that don't usually get concerned, and then Mr. Masterton come in and spoke to us and told us that everything was going to be all right and just relax, and we had support coming in for I think it was India or something. He said some fund there or something like that. Not to worry, didn't believe anything we're going to hear and stuff like that. And then that was the last time we spoke to Mr. Masterton. Well, everything sort of crumbled around us.
So many first team players left, including captain Jordan McMillan and winger Joe Cardle. But you stayed in the club in an attempt to keep the club in the league almost. How much of an impact did losing all these first team players have on the squad?
Well, I think probably partly it was because I had a 2-year deal compared to the one. So I think most of the experienced guys sort of went. I think based on probably my value in terms of the 2-year deal, I think it was probably that helped me stay almost. But that was the most horrific day ever. Getting called into a meeting, they literally just says they're going to get your name called out. You go into a room and that's going to be you. You're sitting there with guys that you've went through half a season with, battling away and top of the league, and they're just getting told that they've got families and stuff as well, getting told that's them. So that was real tough. And then you get the youngsters coming through. We were lucky to have a lot of good youngsters there to sort of fill the shoes, and they come in, and then it's your job then to focus on helping them, and probably the most experienced there. So you're fighting to help them in that environment.
As I said, they're a very good young squad. Likes of Ryan Williamson, Sean Byrne, and like Ross Millen coming through. You were influential in that season, the joint top goal scorer in the league with Ryan Thompson on 11 goals. You scored some crucial goals that season. I remember a penalty against Cowdenbeath and then a penalty against Livy. Did you think you'd be able to have enough to stay up, or was it just too much in the end that the quality shows?
I think we're sort of unlucky, to be honest. We battled away and we done well. I mean, you lose half your team and you come in with young guys, and credit to them, they sort of step straight in. As you obviously see, Ryan, Sean, the ones you're naming, Ross Millen, all the guys have sort of stepped in and they've done amazing. You can see them obviously going strength to strength now. But I mean, just some certain results just went against us. And then when that experience isn't there, that extra bit of know-how in the game, then that's when you start to lose silly goals and late ones to Partick we should have held out, stuff like that. So that's when that sort of side of things go against you. Just a bit of experience and stuff like that. So yeah, we're unfortunate, but I thought we were going at one point. Thought we were looking pretty good. We were pretty resilient, but it wasn't to be.
So relegation from the Championship followed, and the following season they were challenging for league title with Rangers. We obviously Dunfermline finished second that season. Finished in the playoffs, but again, heartbreak in the playoffs against Cowdenbeath. That day must have been horrific as well, the same with the Holloway game.
Yeah, it was. Cowdenbeath more so. I think we played obviously Cowdenbeath away first, and obviously the game. I think I was on the bench for the return leg, which was a sore one to take as well. And then just to see obviously the goals going for Cowdenbeath, and no, it was a really tough one to take, especially when you're on the part to influence it. It's not to say if I played I was going to stop all that. I just mean that when you feel like so helpless sitting on the bench, just watching that happen in front of you at home, you know how much it meant to the fans, and yeah, it was probably one of the toughest games that I've been involved in.
You then left Dunfermline and went to Forfar and back to part-time football. Was it always a plan to go to part-time football, or did you want to stay full-time?
No, in all honesty, I remember when I left Dunfermline, I got offered a terrible offer to stay. I think it was like a quarter of my wages or something like that, something pathetic. So it was basically impossible. And I could have signed a new deal prior to a Rangers game, and they offered me a new deal then, and I wanted to wait because I just got back in the team. So I decided against it just to concentrate on the football side of things. So I was really disappointed with the offer. So I thought I'll find something else. So I was trying to stay full time. The full time offers weren't there. So I turned down a good offer at Dumbarton. It was actually the best offer I got, but I turned it down because I wanted to stay full time. And then I realised that it was going to be part-time football. So I was speaking to Brecon and Forfar, and I went up with Callum Morris. He had just signed with Dundee United at the time. So he came, picked me up. I went up to the Forfar Dundee United game. We were both watching it, and I just knew that with the players that Forfar had, attacking wise, it was going to suit me a lot better than what it would at Brecon. Swanky, Hilson, players like that. And I just felt that was sort of where I wanted to go. You had Danny Denham and Omar on the wings as well. So with a bit of pace and a bit of creativity, and I just thought that was the best move for me.
As you said, Forfar had a good team that season, experience, but also, as you said, the pace on the wings. Managed by Dick Campbell. You were in the title race with Morton that season, just falling short, and then more playoff heartbreak against Alloa when they came back and won it. How that must have been tough again the following season.
Yeah, I was actually suspended for the away game, so not got much luck in the playoffs. Either lose or not playing, or I'm suspended. So no, we've done well that season. I think we kept going top, we kept bouncing back, kept grinding results, and obviously we had Dunfermline and stuff in the league over full time. So it was a good achievement what we were doing. But yet again, we had the players that were capable of doing it, so it wasn't too much of a surprise when you seen our squad. But yeah, fell short again. We had a helicopter Saturday at one point as well to end up in the playoffs. So I think we finished third, and we could have won it on that day. So yeah, it was a good season in terms of the excitement and stuff. But it's unfortunate to fall short and end up finishing third.
You then left Forfar and then joined your hometown club, Kelty Hearts. What was your decision to join Kelty?
I spoke to Dean just about, obviously asked me to go and have a chat with him and stuff. So I went down there and spoke to him, spoke to the manager. Spoke to the manager. And it just seemed like a sort of fun place. Seemed like it was sort of moving in the right direction, and it's probably what I needed. It was always my ambition to come back home and not finish up in Kelty. I was still young when I joined, but it was always my ambition to come back and play for Kelty one day. And I just felt, well, you've got to enjoy football. So I made a decision. Obviously got offered some work as well, which was a big thing. I was also trying to do a career outside football, so that was a big part of it for me as well, which is obviously everyone knows. So yeah, it turned out to be a great decision to do that. So yeah.
stepping down the leagues to obviously the junior game after successful seasons in the second and third tier of Scottish football, did you realise how competitive the juniors were compared to the professional game?
I think when you watch the junior game, you just see the competitiveness, but you don't actually realise what it's like until you're in the middle of it. I was probably kind of taken aback in my first little while there. It took me a wee while to settle in, actually, to be honest. But yeah, it's actually a really good league. It's really tough. Obviously, Celtic took a different direction, wanted to go push up the leagues, which I think was definitely the best decision. But yeah, it was great in the juniors, and you're playing against some real good players as well. People just see you step away from the top leagues and you come down, you just think the player standard just gets worse and worse and worse, which isn't the case. As you see with some of the Scottish Cup results you get with teams in the juniors and East of Scotland playing against League One and League Twos. So no, I mean it's definitely competitive, definitely.
So as you said, Kelty, they kept on rising up. They won the East Region Super League in your second season there, and then they made the decision to turn senior, and then won the East of Scotland League. Talk us through that title-winning game against Hutchison Vale.
It was madness, to be honest. We hadn't scored against them, and that was the biggest thing. We kept falling short, missing penalties and stuff. Stuart Cargill to blame for that. But no, we kept falling short. We had Nimmo scoring on goals for 30 yards. Everyone was just going against us. So no, I always felt that if we got the first goal against them, they wouldn't know how to react. They wouldn't know what it felt like to go a goal down to us. And that's what happened with a spectacular free kick for Mr. Cargill.
So the Lowland League followed after that. Did you and the boys think that you could get another promotion into the SPFL?
Definitely. Obviously, you can't underestimate the Lowland League. It's a really tough league. And you've got your university teams who are full-time, practically. And then you've obviously got your Spartans, your BSC, it's always a tough game. Your East Kilbride, who obviously have good quality players. And then obviously you've got Bonnyrigg and stuff in there now as well. But before they were in, it was a really tough league, and it was a new league to us as well. So when you're the newcomer, and obviously there's a lot of talk about Kelty at the time, it's people want to sort of get one over on you. So every game was sort of a tough game.
So Barry Ferguson came in. Obviously, he was a massive name in Scottish football. The signings that he brought in months after coming in, the likes of Nathan Austin, Dylan Easton, how influential was he for a club like Kelty to have a big name like that as a manager?
It's massive. Captain of Scotland, captain of Rangers, captain every club he's been at. It's massive to have a leader like that. So it was good, and obviously you could see Kelty was always a promising move for a player, but when obviously Barry's there, it's obviously highlighted even more so. So you had players want to play for him and stuff like that as well. So yeah, it's been a real good addition for Kelty.
So Kelty became Lowland League champions due to COVID last season. Obviously, they didn't get promoted because of it. They're top of the league this season, obviously looking to win the league. How far do you think Kelty as a whole can go as a club?
They could definitely go into League Two. The momentum Kelty's carrying is great, but it's came getting halted with obviously the COVID stuff. It was going to be a difficult end to last season. We still had Bonnyrigg to go to and stuff like that. There's no doubt about that. But did we feel like we had enough to win that league? 100%. Did we feel like we had enough to win the playoffs? 100%. So it was there for us. It was unfortunately it wasn't to be for the promotion. This season again, you see obviously Kelty's had the bad defeat against East Kilbride, but they've been pretty solid since. So they're going in the right direction. They're doing everything right, and then all of a sudden you're looking at guys now possibly doing many pre-seasons before we start back up, if we get started back up. And all that does is gives other teams a chance to regroup. And likewise with Kelty, you lose your momentum, it's a restart again. It's tough. It's tough for the guys as well. But I'm sure the experience they've got in there and the leadership for the management, to the players, I'm sure they'll pick it back up and hopefully carry on where they left off.
So during lockdown, you made a big decision in your footballing career, really. you made the decision to step away from the game. What made you make that decision in the end?
Just a couple of things really. I just sort of I didn't have the desire as much as what I used to have. It was sort of I didn't have that hunger to go back to it. I'd done my pre-season, I'd done the programme, it was set to me, and I just sort of decided that I was missing out on a lot back home. I was getting busy at work. I was sort of split. I felt like I was just too busy and something had to give, and I made the decision for it to be football. So yeah, it was a tough decision. It took me the whole lockdown right up to almost went back to make a decision. But I knew the closer we were getting, and the feelings were still there for not going back. So I knew the closer we got, and that was going to be the eventuality. That was going to be my decision.
Do you think you'll make a comeback to playing football at maybe junior level or back at Kelty at any time?
I think I've no real plans to come back anytime soon. Started playing golf, so I could do that when I please. I've no set routine for it. I could fit it in around things and stuff. So sort of occupy myself with that hobby wise. Hopefully Kelty's in League Two by the time next year comes, so they should be on the rise. I'll never say never, but as it stands just now, I've no real plans to go back to it.
Last two questions. This is quite hard ones. These ones. You've obviously scored a few great goals in your career, but which one was your favourite?
Just in general.
Yeah.
I scored a volley for Stockport. It was probably it is the best goal I've ever scored. The guy flicks it on. It's about 30 yards in the air, up the way, and I just sort of catch it on the volley. It was against top of the league Rotherham that night. I ended up getting two actually, but that was by far the best goal I've scored.
And last question: who do you think's the most, I wouldn't say best player, but most technically gifted player you've played alongside?
Technically gifted. I think Charlie Adams' left foot's pretty special. I'd probably say Charlie with his left foot. My time at Blackpool, the balls used to put through for the strikers was an absolute dream. And for somebody that plays that position as well, it's probably something that was right up my street.
I had a feeling you'd say that. Yeah, his left foot. I was watching there was the goal in the playoffs of Blackpool against Cardiff the other day. It was some strike.
The best bit about that is they had Peter Whittingham in the Cardiff team, and he was amazing at free kicks and stuff. So we were training at England's training pitch the day before, and we had this sort of system set up where when the free kick was taken for Whittingham, we would send somebody back onto the post. And I remember Charlie had a bit of a laugh with the manager in Holloway, and he says, if he hits it well, you've no chance anyway, so there's no point in doing this. So then Charlie went over the free kick, and I swear to God, it must have been the exact same position. And he hits it, and with a guy running back to the post, the wall jump and everything, and he whipped it top corner and then just ran off the training pitch. So to do that like the day after as well at Wembley, it was almost in the same position. I remember sitting on the bench, just we're talking to the guys, and we're saying that's exactly where it was yesterday. And he whipped it in again. Yeah, it was unbelievable.
Brilliant. Thanks for your time, Hobby. It's been much appreciated.
No worries, mate. Thanks for having me, and all the best with the rest of the podcast.
Thank you. This has been the LBV podcast, guys. Thanks for listening. What's that?
I'll let you get back to some editing now.
Cheers, guys. Hope you've enjoyed.
Cheers.